Hey everybody, we're about to go live on 90.1 FM. We got a great show lined up for you. We got two great judges that's going to be spending a little time with us today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The calling number 601-948-5950. That's 601-948-5950. We have Attorney Gayla Carpenter-Sanders and Representative Debra Gibbs who are vying for judge positions. So sit back and relax for a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Get your questions ready. Go ahead and post where you call, where you're tuning in from, whether it be where Mississippi or wherever you're tuning in from. Go ahead and post in the comment section where you're tuning in from so we can give you a little shout out. And again, the calling number is 601-948-5950. I feel good. I'm back. I know I've been down for the last 2 weeks, but I feel really good now. So we'll be ready to get rocking and rolling real soon. Hey, Tim, how you doing, brother? We appreciate you for always being a good friend of the show, brother. So sit back as soon as Henry bring us on. We're ready to go.
Just in case.
I just thought about something. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reviving Mississippi. I'm your host, DeKeither Stamps. Our co-host, Ms. Starlet Simmons, she's out today. I know I was out the last 2 weeks. She out this week, so everybody's taking care of themselves. I would say thank you for all the phone calls and text messages that we received. We had an upper respiratory infection and sinusitis, so we appreciate everybody for checking in on us while we were going through the sickness process. I will say this, and I learned it the hard way, because I think I coughed more in the last 2 weeks than I have in a long time. I mean, I really thought I was going down through it. I thought I had COVID at first, but I wound up getting tested several times, and thank God we didn't have COVID. But the doctor told me, I'm out there cutting grass every day, out in the woods and all that, have my, dust mask on. But if y'all out there every day cutting grass, all my landscapers and yard guys out there cutting grass every day, all day long, and you got your little mask on, and you throw it on the dashboard of your truck, and the next day you come back and grab it. Well, I was doing the same thing. I got a dashboard, 4 or 5 masks sitting up there. All of them not clean. Make sure you get you a fresh mask every day. Make sure you get you a fresh. Y'all been wearing the same mask out there since 2020. It's 2022. You need to get you a new mask. Just like you change shirts every day, you need to change your mask every day. You might find yourself sick as all get out like me. I was out there huffing and puffing and coughing and sneezing and all that kind of stuff the last 2 weeks. So practice a little hygiene with these masks. I know the mask is a little new piece of attire for us now. We're wearing them all day, every day. Make sure you get you a fresh mask out there before you wind yourself up like I was last 2 weeks in the bed, coughing and sneezing and not really doing too well. And so as we begin every show, we always begin our show off with remember those people who are going through bereavement. Bereavement is a very trying situation, especially in times like this, especially my family. We lost a family this weekend. So just all the families who are going through bereavement, just make sure that you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of your loved ones. Make sure you reach out to folks, because you got to be a friend so you can have a friend when your time comes. Our underwriters for today's show, Mr. Micheal Jordan, the Micheal Jordan Transportation Service. You can go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs. Good brother, always doing good work, always standing up for the community. So just make sure that you take care of yourself and going out there. If you need to ride. You need to ride? Call Micheal Jordan up. Right over there in Georgetown, doing great work, helping the community out. So go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs. Also, go on my cousin over there at Stamp SuperBurgers. Get you a whole cow between 2 pieces of bread. It's juicy to the last drop. Everybody knows where it is, right on Dalton Street, where it's always been. Go on and check out Stamp SuperBurgers and get you one of those turkey burgers and some of those lemon pepper fries. Grab your t-shirt while you're there. And we appreciate everybody for, again, always helping us out through the years. And we're coming up on our 9-year anniversary. We got a few announcements here. Ward 5, August Ward 5 Day, August the 20th, 2022, from 11 to 2 p.m. in Livingston Park, right next to the Jackson Zoo. Councilman Vernon Hartlett and Representative Gayla Sanders and Supervisor Creedell Calhoun are asking all neighborhood associations to come out. They'll have vaccination, school supply giveaway, and then there's also a check presentation from Representative Ronnie Crudup and Representative Gayla Sanders out at Livingston Park, August the 20th, 2022, from 11 to 2 p.m. We got a couple of activities going on this week. We got, let's see here, Friday, September the 30th, we got Tucker and Willie Clayton live in concert featuring Miss Jody, the Queen of Soul, at Tharmar Hall. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Party starts at 7:30 at 255 Pascagoula Street, Jackson, Mississippi. This is being put together by Experience Jackson. And they said they are not responsible for lost or stolen merchandise. So make sure you keep track of your stuff when you're going out there and go party. Tickets can be picked up at Island Box Office, Tharmar Hall, and Ticketmaster.com. Our good friend Miss Rita Brent, September 17th, Doolin Hall, Jackson, Mississippi, 7 p.m. Go on and check out Sister Rita, The Return of Rita Brent, September 17th at 7. One show at 7 p.m., another show at 9:30 at Doolin Hall. Check out old Rita B. Good folks. Ladies and gentlemen, today we got a good show lined up for you today. We got two great judges that are going to be stopping by today. One already here, Miss Gayla Sanders, Gayla Carpenter-Sanders. She's running for judge. Welcome to the show, dear.
Thank you for having me.
She's running for Hinds County Chancery Court Judge, Sub-District 5. All right, good deal. So how's the campaign feel treating you? It's been a couple years since you've been here.
Yeah, it has. It's treating me okay so far, but I have a long way to go.
Yeah?
To November 8th. So
They ain't messing with you out there.
no.
If you run across somebody messing with you, let me know. I come out there and snatch them up now.
I will. But it's been good meeting new people, getting reacquainted with people who I've worked with in the past on different things. But just meeting new people. That's always interesting, and hearing people's stories and how they connect with you.
So for those who don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and kind of your background here.
Well, I'm an attorney, of course. I've been practicing now for 18 years. I'm married. My husband and I live in Jackson with our two sons. Together we have 3 children. We have my stepdaughter, who's his daughter from a previous relationship. She's in her senior year at Alcorn State University.
Mighty brave.
And then we have 2 sons. One is in 9th grade, just started high school over at the Jackson Tougaloo Early College High School. And we have a 7th grader at Bailey APAC. I'm originally from Vicksburg, Mississippi. So I was educated in the Vicksburg Warren School District, graduated from Vicksburg High School. And then I moved over to Hinds County, went to Tougaloo College, did my undergrad years there. And from there, I went to the University of Florida for 3 years in Gainesville. So I was a Gator twice. I was a Gator in high school and a Gator for law school. And came back here and I started practicing. I started out with a plaintiff's law firm called Dawkins, Turnage and Banks with Halbert Dawkins, Attorney Halbert Dawkins, Representative Attorney Earl Banks, and Attorney Ellie Turnage. I worked there handling Chancery Court cases, handling personal injury matters as well. I left there and then I moved to the other side of the table. I started doing civil defense work. And so I was representing businesses, some individuals, and companies, chancery work, doing chancery work there, also doing premises liability work and some insurance defense, representing insurance companies. And from there, I stayed there for about 7.5 years. And so for the last 8 years, I've been at the Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project.
I really appreciate your work at the Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project.
Thank you.
We partnered together to do a huge expungement clinic a few years ago. And that's not the only one you do. That's the one, and it was in the Metro Center when it was open running.
That's right.
And I think, how many people we have out there that day?
We had a little over 200 people that day. And then we had a Know Your Rights session for them, and then they were qualified to come back to the clinic. So we did a two-day thing, and they came back to the clinic and got representation from attorneys at the clinic.
So you're running for Chancery Court judge.
Yes.
I know, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of judge races that are happening right now. So tell us a little bit about the Chancery Court. What types of cases are covered in that type of court? And then we'll talk about your district.
Okay. So Chancery Court is the court that's in the building where you go and get your car tag. That's the first thing people need to know. And so on the third floor is where you have your courts. And in those courts, you have your divorce cases, you have family law cases that are handled in Chancery Court. So family law cases could be divorces, adoptions, conservatorships, guardianships, child support modification, visitation, those type cases. You also have property disputes that are in Chancery Court. You have wills, probate of wills, you have estates that are handled in Chancery Court. And then you have some appeals too that are handled in Chancery Court.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about the district that you're running in, so folks who are listening can know if this district is there. Tell me about the geographic kind of boundaries of the district.
Okay. So first thing I would say, because a lot of times people may not know if they are in this particular district. So what I always start off by saying is that this is the district where Judge Denise Owens is your Chancery Court judge. So every 4 years when you've had to go to the polls, if you had to check for Denise Owens, then this is your district. So the district is vast. The borders, I will tell you the borders. Part of McDowell Road is a border. Then you have part of Highway 49, like you're going up to the Mississippi Delta. It doesn't go as far as Presidential Hills, but it stops right at Bowling Street. So if you're on 220 and you take that right, Bowling Street is that first street to your left. So Bowling Street is another boundary. And then you also have Highway 18 going toward Raymond, but it stops about at TV Road where you have WAPT, and then all of the Jackson State area. So Lynch Street, Valley Street, all of those areas are encompassed within that district. Those are the bordering streets.
From the outside looking in to the criminal justice and justice system here in Hinds County, there's some broken pieces to it. How do you feel you can make the system better with what you bring to the table?
Yeah. So, I always think that most times the root of the issues that we have in the criminal justice system are because we have broken families. You have broken individuals within that family, and you have vicious family cycles that have, reared its ugly head to, the children. And so with this court, one of the great things about Chancery Court, and a lot of people don't pay attention to the Chancery Court system, but one good thing about this system is that it helps with stabilizing those families. I will tell you this, Representative Stamps, I was fortunate to grow up in a home with my mother and father. My parents have been married for 54 years. So I've always had my mom around. I've always had my dad around. Got married. My husband is, we're raising our children together. So I've been fortunate to have strong families and married into a strong family. But I understand that that's not what every family looks like. I understand that you may have a man and a woman in a house together, but it may not be the best situation, okay? Or you may have two people who are not in the house together, but they have children. It doesn't mean that those children are less than, or those people are less than because they didn't choose to be together to raise those children. It just means that their family dynamic looks different. And so the good thing about Chancery Court is that you get, as a judge, to make those decisions that you think are in the best interest of that family, particularly those children. And so that's one of the things that I'm bringing to this candidacy and to the judgeship if voters elect me on November 8th. I am bringing 18 years of working with families, whether it's representing individuals for visitation cases or whether it's with my role now at Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project, litigating, representing individuals, but also going to chancery courts across the state and implementing programs that will help with the efficiency of courts and help with, give judges some guidance as to how, the courts can flow better, especially when it comes to individuals who cannot afford attorneys.
We got such a brokenness in several layers of our lives in our community. And between the justice system, particularly on the criminal side, and the Department of Human Services, they've done some good things, and there's been some travesties that have taken place. And we just have to be more mindful. I know a lot of times as voters, I'm not speaking as a representative and anything like this, as a voter. We spend a lot of time focusing on mayors and council people, governors and the president and so forth. And the third branch of government plays a vital role and is just as equal and just as powerful as the other two.
Yes.
And what are some of the things that people should look out for in their decision-making process of selecting a judge?
You definitely want to look at the experience. Okay. And when I say experience, all of the candidates that are on the ballot for Chancery Court judge have gone to law school. We've all been practicing as attorneys. We've all been practicing in Chancery Court. But what you really want, so all of us will look good to every candidate, but you have to look at relevant experience, okay? So you want to look at the types of cases. Have you had a hand in handling multiple types of cases that come in Chancery Court? I've practiced family law, but I've also represented landowners with property disputes. I've represented families with estate matters. I've had a will contest in Hinds County. So you want to look at whether or not that candidate has handled a variety of types of cases in Chancery Court. You want to look at the temperament of the individual that's running too, because in Chancery Court, you don't have jury trials in Chancery Court. So that judge controls the temperature.
The whole process.
And the whole court system. And so one of the things that, as a judge, you have to make sure that people, one, know that you're listening to them. They have to know that you're going to be fair and that you don't have these preconceived ideas because this case may look like a case that I ruled on last week, that there are individual factors that are related to this case. So you have that, but you also want to make sure that your judge is the type that can keep everything in control. Because when you're talking about Chancery Court, you have people who are vulnerable. And we're talking about mending their families. We're talking about things that they work hard for. And so you may have tempers flaring. If you have opposing parties, you need a judge that is going to stay calm and keep control of the courtroom, not let it get out of hand. You also want someone who has experience with handling volumes of cases in Chancery Court, not just volumes of cases, but volumes of cases in Chancery Court at one time, because one of the things you want is for your judge to be efficient. If I am trying to divorce my spouse today, I want to make sure it's not going to take a year or two before that divorce is granted. So you want somebody who's going to be efficient. You want someone who has the proper temperament, and you want someone with relevant experience.
Okay. So let me get a caller here. Okay. Well, as a final, but as we wrap up part one, Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yes, sir. Y'all phone man hung up on me at first.
We just working through this. We just working through the system, brother. What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to ask the candidate something real quick. Going into this family court judge race, the popular consensus is that the family court system it has no place for a male, and it often disproportionately leads to the man going to financial ruin. So my question to you is, how do you plan on making that better? Because I understand a lot of family court judges like to say always the best interest for the children, but it's always the male that gets railroaded. And it seems like it's a venue for the female to get her wrath and vengeance. So as a candidate, how do you plan on improving that perception?
Thanks a lot, Cole.
Yeah, excellent question. What I would tell the caller is, as a Chancery Court judge, I'm going to make sure you're heard. I'm going to make sure that I listen. Whether you have an attorney representing you or if you're representing yourself, I'm going to listen to you. Okay. I help people who cannot afford to hire attorneys all the time. So I understand that part. The only thing I can tell you is that I will make sure that I rule fairly and impartially. I've represented women, but I've also represented men. I've represented men with child support modifications. I've represented them with visitation. I understand that that's the perception. The only thing I can tell you is that when faced with cases, I'm going to make sure that I listen to both sides. I'm going to make sure that whatever works for that family is what will happen. If that means joint physical custody, then I would lean toward joint physical custody. If that means the father having physical custody and both parties having legal decision-making rights or legal custody as it's called, then, I will rule, but it's really based on the facts. I know that that's the perception of the system, but, the only thing I can say is that I would work to rule fairly and impartially on that.
Okay. So, as we round up, tell the folks why they should vote for you. What differentiates you and what you bring to the table and from everyone else that's on the ballot?
Okay. So I'm running on experience, integrity, and access to justice. And this is no slight to the other candidates at all, because I have the utmost respect for both of my opponents. I know them in the profession. But out of all three candidates on the ballot, I've had 18 years of consistent experience in Chancery Court. I have had extensive experience representing individuals, not just in Hinds County, but across the entire state. I have experience implementing programs for individuals who cannot afford to hire an attorney, not just in Hinds County, but in a lot of the counties across the state. I've practiced in 16 of the 20 Chancery districts in Mississippi. And I've worked with multiple judges with implementing programs in their Chancery courts. I have the utmost integrity. I've always been honest with individuals who I represent. I know that if it's a case that, would be difficult, I let people know that up front. I've always been honest with people. I know what it's like to make recommendations to a Chancery Court judge based on certain types of cases. I've also been a certified guardian ad litem. And so what people don't know is that as a guardian ad litem, you're the investigative arm of the Chancery Court judge. So you go out and you interview both sides. You go in and you interview the children. In these particular cases, I've been guardian ad litem on complex custody cases. So, you go in and you interview all parties and you make a recommendation to the judge as to how they should rule. And with all of my guardian ad litem reports, they've been followed by the Chancery Court judge. So I talk about relevant experience. I talk about access to justice because that's something that I've been working with for the last 8 years, making sure that individuals who don't have money can afford representation. Those are the types of things that I will bring to the court. At MVLP, because I handle 900 to 1,200 cases each year, I have docket calls for all of my cases where there are attorneys assigned, because I want to make sure that the attorneys are accountable to their clients. And I also want to make sure that we're moving in a direction of resolution. And so that's another thing that I would bring to this position, to be able to handle volumes of Chancery Court cases. And I can't stress anymore that relevant experience is what matters. So those are the things that I bring to the table. And, I just ask for support on November 8th. This is a journey. I never set out to be a judge,
right.
Representative Stamps. I think this is the ultimate, well, maybe I shouldn't say ultimate, but this is another level of service.
It's definitely, running for, my hat's off to anybody who decides to really run for office and are serious about serving in the role that they are vying for. Because running for office is not easy.
It's not.
And it's easy to put your name on the ballot. But the actual going through the process, listening to folks, knocking on doors, making phone calls. When you knock on that door, you see people as they are.
As they are.
At 6:15 in the afternoon in all this glory.
And putting your family through it.
So, and it, just another disclaimer. I'm not endorsing anybody's judge race, but if you run for judge, I'm here to let you come on and speak your piece and talk to folks. Because I remember when I ran for office, it was hard to get airtime. I think things have changed now. In 9 years, stuff has changed. But 9 years ago, everybody had their own friends, and their friends had their own shows. Nobody let you in. You just kind of outside hoping somebody give you a chance to come in. So things have changed a little bit. But if you're running for office, come on by. Talk to Starlet and the rest of them. They'll get you scheduled to come on, because people need to hear from you in a personal way. That's why I love radio, because people can hear from you. You can talk about it. Little sound bites and stuff folks do on TV commercials and stuff like that. People need to hear you have a conversation.
I agree.
So as we finish up, what you want the people to do and when you want them to do it.
Okay. So the first thing I would like for them to do, if they're on social media, they can go to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and just look at some of the stories that I'm posting on there. I'm being intentional about what's posted on there because I want people to know who I am. So there are videos on there that talk about my life, that talk about some of the cases that I've handled. And then I want them to go to my website. If they're not on social media and have access to the internet, if they can go to Gayla for Judge, that's GAYLA 4 Judge, JUDGE.com to learn more about my platform. And then also there's information about the precincts that are a part of my district. Second thing I want them to do after they learn about me, I want them on November 8th to go to the polls and vote Gayla Carpenter-Sanders. I'm the one with the longest last name on there. Trust me, I tried to get those on a sign and on signage, and it was kind of difficult. But I'm the one with the longest last name, just the first name on the ballot. And so I just ask that they elect me as their next Hinds County Chancery Court judge. And I do want to say that this is an open seat. Judge Denise Owens, who has served our county very well for the last 32 years, is retiring at the end of this year. And so this is an open seat. No one who is running for this position has served as a Chancery Court judge. So, it's an open seat. And I just ask that they take a look at my platform, what I'm running on, what I'm about. There are ways to connect with me if they would like to connect with me via email. And then on November 8th, make an educated and informed decision and elect Gayla Carpenter-Sanders as their next Hinds County Chancery Court judge for Subdistrict 5-3.
I love seeing the maturation of candidates from when they begin, as they go through the process. You go through the different interviews and you polish up. And I watch the forums and there's all the different things that have gone on in this process. And it's gonna get a little, when it gets down to the end, it gets kind of tense. But But I do know that people got some real decisions to make. We all do in Hinds County. Because this is a side, that's why I want you to finish your portion. As a side note, I think it's a travesty what happened to the police officer today. I know you can't speak on this, but I can. I think it's a travesty. What happened to him and his family, what he had to go through. And, and we have to do better. We just have to do better in every space. And I know speaking specifically back to the family court system. And that's why I'm having all the judges who run for Chancery Court on the show. Because I know personally, the family court system tried to ruin me. Just like the brother called earlier. When I got it 12 years ago, when I retired from the military, I wound up going through a divorce. And I wound up having to pay child support to the state of Mississippi, the state of Alabama, and the military was taking out my check. I was paying child support to 3 different times for the same 2 children to the same one woman. And nobody wanted to fix it. And it took me years to get that. Now, the brother talked about earlier about how it devastates a man. Hey, it's, and I'm not against paying child. I pay my stuff all the time. But when you got to pay it 3 times, it make it hard, and you don't get your money back. When folks in there lying and scheming and plotting, the man or the non, what do you call it? The non-custodial parent doesn't get their money back when they realize they made a mistake. So that's why justice has to definitely be served. So we thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you.
And we look forward to you coming back in the future. You got a lot of time between now and November 8th.
I would love to come back.
So come on back anytime.
I will.
All right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Attorney Gayla Carpenter-Sanders. She's running for Hinds County Chancery Court Judge, Subdistrict 5. And, make sure you go to her website, check out what she got going on. And again, these judge races are vitally important. So we'll see you in the future.
Thank you.
Come on up, my colleague. And then we have another young lady running for judge as well. Representative Debra Gibbs. She's been a good friend over the years, her and her husband. And now they're not running for the same seat. It's a different seat. Representative Debra Gibbs is running for Hinds County Circuit Court Judge, Subdistrict 2. How you doing, dear?
I'm doing okay. I'm rushing, just getting off a plane, trying to get.
Hey, you in the campaign mode.
I know.
You're in campaign mode. All go.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It's been a while since you've been here. How you doing?
It's been a while. Just busy, wearing 2 hats, still representing District 72, and then running for Circuit Court Judge at the same time. So it's a lot going on for me.
So what's been going on with you?
Well, I've just been busy with hearing, still doing legislative work, of course. I'm talking with different people with the water issue that, we're having here in the city of Jackson and crime. I'm on the Judiciary B in the legislature, which deals with criminal cases. I'm also vice chair of tourism in the House. So I try to make sure that, I'm serving the people and doing what they're asking me to do and answering their questions and getting them to the right governmental entity that they need to be at. So it's been a busy time.
Well, take a deep breath. You won't be like me. I was down for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness, I did hear that. You doing okay now?
I'm doing better now. So you're running for judge.
I am.
So tell the folks who may not know you, I'm sure everybody does, but for those who don't know you, a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up and all that.
Well, I don't want to go back too far. We'll probably be here long evenings, Representative Stamps, and I go back too far, but I've been here for 30 years. I moved here. I was recruited to come to Jackson, Mississippi as an accountant with Hendricks, what's now called Hendricks. So that's how I ended up in Jackson. But what people probably don't know, I don't talk a lot about it, I guess, is that my mother grew up in Jackson and she lived off of Ferry Street and went to Lanier High School, and my grandmother was here. So I would travel when I was young back and forth to Jackson, Mississippi. Right? I know a lot of people don't know that, but I would come to Jackson during the summers. And so I remember the lights and Alamo Theater and all of the stores. And my mind said still of what Ferry Street looked like. But I was a very, very young child when I would come back and forth. So I remember the heyday of Jackson, how bustling it was on the mid Ferry Street on those corners. But I've lived here and raised my children here along with my spouse, Robert L. Gibbs. And so we're engaged in the community. We're invested in our community. We have businesses here. We work here. As I indicated, we've raised 2 young adults here.
Not just young adults, strapping, good young folks.
Yeah, I say so myself. I'm proud of them. They went to the public school here in JPS. I have both of them graduated from Murrah High School. They went off to different HBCUs. Of course, they have their favorites. She went to Spelman College. He went to Howard University. And Robert went to Tougaloo, and I'm happy to say I received an honorary degree from Tougaloo College not too long ago. So we are really engaged in our community here and know a lot of people because we've been working because we care about people, we care about our community.
So for those who may not know the role of the judgeship you're seeking, tell us a little bit about the role of this judgeship.
And that's a good question because I think it's important that constituents are empowered and informed when they are trying to elect officials, the role that they're electing people to, and whether or not they have the skill set and ability to carry out the functions of that job. The role of a judge, in particular, and in circuit court, is to preside over cases. And they get those cases normally after indictments. So it's a whole judicial process that happens before a case gets to a judge. But a judge pretty much, as you heard them say, run their courtroom. And so they're able to get those cases in a criminal perspective. They should be moving those cases as fast as they can. One of the things that I'm hearing as I'm talking to different lawyers and former circuit judges is that it's too slow and that we have a backlog and it's backing up. And so you need to have a judge that has a good work ethic, that's able to work with other people that understand the system and able to work with all of the moving pieces to make sure that the cases are moving forward. Because in a criminal case, you have 270 days to, once the person's indicted, to get them through that system. And I understand we have people sitting in jail who have been sitting in jail for a while who are not being adjudicated. And so their rights are not being, they're not getting, they're preserving their rights of what they need to do in terms of moving through that system. So you need someone to get in there and understand and be able to work together and be able to have to solve those issues and to be able to determine where is that backlog. Because the DA office, the public defenders, the judges, all of them are part of that mechanism.
So in circuit court, what are the types of cases that come through circuit court?
It's going to be those crimes, those felonies, robbery, burglary.
I'm a firm believer, and I say it over and over again. I got friends that all throughout the system here in Hinds County is broken. What do you say, or what do you bring to the table to help make it better?
Well, I would say, first of all, being in the legislature, as you know, representative staffs, we hear all kind of issues, all kind of concerns from the county, from the city, from the state. And so I am saying that I know Hinds County because of that, because I'm inundated with people calling because they want leadership and they want to feel safe. In this instance, they want to feel protected. And so we have to work hard together as a collective unit to make it work. And so with my expertise of working across the lines and being able to work with all forms of government, I've been in the executive branch and now I'm in the legislative branch. And so I'm able to utilize those skills and resources that I have and my skill set to be able to work toward helping to move those cases forward.
So, because when I see some of these things that go wrong, I know you can't speak on cases specifically. And ladies and gentlemen, call it number 601-948-5950 if you have a question for Representative Gibbs. We got about 12 minutes left to go on the show. So if you want to call in, go ahead and call in. Now, tell the people a little bit about what differentiates you from the other people that are vying for the same position.
Well, I have a broad, diverse background, which I think would be a benefit to the judicial bench. I have judicial experience. I am a former gubernatorial appointment as a commissioner for Mississippi Workers' Compensation, and I was there for over 5 years. So I had bench hearings and I did settlements, and I pretty much represented the employees who were unrepresented when they were injured on the job. So I dealt with personal injury cases per se. So I've had to deal with adverse parties when there was a difference of opinion on how this accident occurred. If a person needs to be reimbursed for that, if they need a rehabilitation, I've had to have the work ethic. We have cases every day. We had settlements all during the week. I had maybe over 6,000 bench hearings, 1,500 and a quarter as far as settlements. So it was steady moving. It wasn't a backlog. We weren't able to do that the way it's set up. And workers' compensation is a state agency that was enacted by the legislature, and they relaxed some of the evidence and the rules of court so that that system could run smoother and get, so the legislature have a long arm reach in terms of helping society feel protected and getting the services that they provide. So just from the legislative perspective, the insight that I bring to it in terms of knowing the resources that can be utilized to help us feel safe and protected. You might recall that we passed a bill this past session that we're giving money to the judicial system to allow the Supreme Court to be able to hire additional judges, to hire additional court staff to handle the backlog of criminal cases. So we were able to sit down and listen to the judges, listen to the DA's office in terms of what the needs were, how it was affecting our community, and what we needed to do to move those cases so that our constituents would feel safe. We have people who make decisions. Do I go to the grocery store in the morning? Do I need to go before it gets dark? They're afraid to go out because they know that they may be accosted in some kind of way. So we listen to those issues that come before us, try to find a way to resolve it. And in this case, we passed legislation to help. I bring all of that experience with me to the bench, as well as the judicial experience that I have sat and had to hear cases as a judge and to quickly solve those cases. I have worked with the executive branch, those in the state government. I've worked with the legislators to be able to do that. I've worked with the DA, the law enforcement. I myself, without even looking toward the judicial bench, had a hearing, you might recall, in the legislature where I called in the executive director of public safety, the chief of police, as well as the chief of the Capitol Police. Well, we sat down and had a meeting to discuss how can we help our citizens feel safe just in the capital area. There was confusion of when they call 911, who should they call? Who's coming to help me? And so I wanted to be the one to kind of step forward to help make a solution. And I suggested getting the MOU of understanding so all parties and the constituents will understand when they call 911, who's going to answer those calls, right? So I've been a person who's always tried to solve issues and want us all to feel safe and secure. And right now, you just stated there's a backlog. People don't feel safe and secure. You've heard law enforcement say that a lot of crimes are being committed, being been documented or not, that they feel like, well, they're not going to get to my case. I can go and commit crimes and we don't have enough place to put them in a jail, so I'm not going to jail. The criminal docket is full, so I'm not going to get a case anytime soon. So we have to be a part of that solution. And that's what attorneys do in particular. We solve problems. So I want to continue to be a servant leader to help solve those problems so people can once again feel some sense of pride that I live in the capital city. I live in Hinds County and I feel safe.
Now this seat, the judge in this seat is not seeking re-election.
That's correct. This too is an open seat. Judge Tommy Green, who served us well for over 28, 29 years, I do believe, is retiring at the end of the year. So this is an open seat that we're running for to fill to continue some of the work that she has done for the last 20 plus years.
And what are some of the geographical boundaries so people who are listening will know if this seat pertains to them and where they live?
And what I do, I try to be very specific because I think we grow up in different neighborhoods. So I always say, if you live in Presidential Hills, you're from Pocahontas and Cynthia, Brown and Lieutenant, or you over by Mary Evers and you vote at the Mary Evers Library. If you live in Northwest Jackson and Beasley Road and Hanging Moss, you're in the Tougaloo community. And then it stretches on over to Woodland Hills as well. So I kind of do it geographically in terms of where people live and where they vote. They can kind of understand and, okay, that's where I need to be on November 8th.
Okay. So, and then we'll wrap up. What do you want the people to do and when you want to do it?
What I want them to do on November 8th, Representative Stamps, is go to the polls and vote Debra Gibbs. I'm the first name on the ballot for Circuit Court Judge for Sub-District 2. You're going to see Debra Gibbs. You don't need to go down the ballot and kind of think about it. Just vote Debra Gibbs because I have a proven track record. I've been elected twice to serve my constituents. And I feel that they've done that because they know I have integrity, I have courage, and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. I have a strong work ethic. And in the legislature, I've been very successful in trying to represent and be the voice of the people. And also I've been able to bring funds back to help my community. So I think my reputation precedes me. It's a proven track record, one of dedication. I haven't sat back to try to eye where I want to go or what I want to do for any monetary reasons or any title reasons. I'm just here to be a servant leader and to serve. And I know people understand that. People who know me know the essence of who I am and know that I will bring respectability to the court if I'm so elected on November the 8th.
Well, I appreciate you for stopping by. How do folks contact you if they want to learn more about you or help them in some kind of way?
I would like for them to go to my website. For me, I would like them to go to www.votedebragibbs.com. And they can get all the information that they need. They can leave information. I'm hoping they're going to join Team Gibbs.
Okay.
And be able to be a part of this success and victory.
Be a part of the momentum.
You want to be a part of it and know that you helped someone and you were supporting good government. And we need people to get more engaged to support good government, because it's going to affect all of us, regardless if you go to that polls or not. You're going to be affected by the elected officials and what they do. And you can't hold people accountable when you didn't vote for them and you're not there to support and help them. Right. So I need people prayers and I need their support, be it in the legislature or be it on the bench. I'm still representing District 72. I did not have to resign or to run for circuit court judge. So I am still District 72 representative. I'm still working hard, representing the people that I represent. And I'm also trying to seek this new position so that I can help bring some stability and credibility to the judicial process.
Just like I told Attorney Carpenter-Sanders, I love seeing, candidates go through the whole process. I mean, I used to not like campaigning. When I first did it the first time, it's kind of intimidating. But as you get into it and you start being around people and you start talking to folks, you really see the needs that are out there. And the judicial system in Hinds County has a lot of needs. And I just ask everybody to pay particular attention to the different candidates that are running for office, because you got some decisions to make. We got some serious decisions to make that's going to determine the course of our system. And Representative Gibbs can't say this, but I can say the system's broken and it needs some help. And it's going to take good people, not just sitting in the stands talking about it. It's take good people getting on the playing field, doing what they can in the roles that they can do it to make it better. And that's all of our community. I know a lot of people sit online and different things like that. We need everybody to be engaged, and not just in elected office. We need folks to be in your neighborhood associations and your neighborhood presidents and engaged in your church. All of our institutions are threatened because of lack of participation. And we need everybody to, put your phone down and participate in the institutions of our community so we can rebuild it. And my thoughts for the day are simply this. We're not just endorsing anybody, but we are saying everybody, come on to let people see you. Let the people, I'm a firm believer. Come on by. Let the people view you, because the people got to sit down and look at these candidates and make some good decisions, because, we don't have a recall process in Mississippi.
Right.
Now I'm pushing for a recall process next year, because once you elect somebody, they there. Represent you, good and bad. So make good decisions, not emotional decisions. Look at the different candidates that are out there and make a very good decision of how you're going to cast your vote. Make it a family thing. We sit down as a family in my house. We sit down and talk about it. Sometimes we got, sometimes we on the same, most of the time we on the same shit music. There's only been one race that we had a little tug of war over. And my wife and I, but sit down and make it a family thing. Everybody sit down and talk about it. You talk about football, you talk about basketball. Sit down and talk about the position that your family is going to take in these different races, because they affect your life. They affect everything from the streets you walk on, the water you can or cannot drink. It affects, crime. It affects all these different things. So just make sure that you sit down and pay serious attention to these ballots, but more importantly, participate. If you're not registered to vote in your area, make sure you register to vote. Make sure you're involved in your neighborhood association, in the community groups around your area, because that is the fabric that weaves our community together. Our people are good, but our institutions need to be rebuilt, from our neighborhood association to our church organizations and our overall electoral body. So let's make good decisions, Science County and Mississippi as a whole, because we got a lot of work to do. Also, announcement wise, we got some good announcements. We have Ward 5 Community Day coming up. Representative Gayla Sanders and Councilman Vernon Hartley are having a Ward 5 Community Day. As soon as I can pull this information up, I'll be able to see it. I think I lost a text message.
It's this Saturday.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Keep me straight. This Saturday, Livingston Park from 11 to 2. You can go check out what they got going on the Ward 5 Community Day. Representative Gayla Sanders and Ronnie Crudup and Councilman Vernon Harlan and Supervisor Creole Calhoun will be out there with a lot of different things. They even have a check presentation, they say.
Right.
They got a check presentation. They're going around dropping off checks. That's a good thing. Go ahead and go ahead and see what's going on if you're in that area. And if you're not in the area, just go participate. I appreciate again the prayers and everything. Support me while I was down sick. I'm about 90%. I ain't all the way spitting fire just yet, but next week it's gonna be on and popping. We got congressional candidates Sawarski Young running for Mississippi House of Representatives, District 3. He'll be here on next Wednesday. And underwriters for today's show, Mr. Michael Jordan and Mr. Michael Jordan Transportation Service. You can go to www.mjstransportation1 for your transportation needs. Go check him out. You ride, you ain't just got Uber and Scuba. Call Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan go and pick you up, take where we need to go. But he specializes in people who are developmentally challenged, educational challenged, to go give them a nice, safe ride to where they need to go. Also, you go over to Stamp SuperBurgers and get you a whole cow between 2 pieces of bread that's tasty and juicy to the last drop. Go on over to Stamp SuperBurger on Dollar Street and get you one of those good old Stamp SuperBurgers, lemon pepper fries. Now, I like the turkey burger. That's my favorite. Turkey burger, lemon pepper fries. Go on over there and check it out. We got some more sponsors coming on next month. Beauty Code and Jackson will be coming live on there next month. So, and all those different folks. We appreciate everybody who's been with us all these years. And as we end every show, we always say thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us, because we've been here almost 9 years. Next month, October will be 9 years in a row. We've been sitting here every Wednesday night, every Wednesday we could be here. 9 years in a row. So we appreciate everybody for continuing to tune us in. Appreciate all the pastors for adjusting Bible study time so they can sit in the car and listen to what we got going on. We try to bring you good, relevant information, news and information you can use to make your life better. So as we end every show, we always say, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own folks, you're part of the very oppression we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. Handyman, get us out of here.